Hello and welcome to this edition of Sidelines. I'm Jimmy Johnson. This week we'll preview the men's cross-country championships, and we'll hear from Colgate football coach Dick Biddle, who was on the sidelines for the program's 600th win on Saturday. But first we'll check in with Holy Cross women's soccer senior Shelby Stand, who continues to move up the scoring charts in program history. I met up with her last Saturday before the Crusaders game against Lehigh to find out just what has made her so successful at Holy Cross. Here's the story. Senior striker Shelby Stand has made her mark at Holy Cross. A two-time first-team All-Patriot League selection, Stand has had a great 3.5 years in Worcester, Massachusetts, and there's nowhere she'd rather be.
I couldn't ask for a better experience. Someone actually last week goes, if you could do it again, would you choose the same school? And I said, without a doubt. It just has everything I want, from the small school to the close family setting to a very competitive league. It's absolutely the best choice I've ever made and the most fun I can ever say I've had in my 5 years.
She has had a lot of fun, and much of that has come at the expense of opposing goalies. With 28 goals and 67 points, the anthropology major is ranked in the top 5 at Holy Cross in scoring. But you wouldn't know that by speaking with her.
She's not a vain person. You know, she quietly goes about her business and she never talks about that. I know it's important to her to do well for the team, and the bigger picture for Shelby is the team's success.
That's why, even with another 6 goals this season, Stan's not looking at the records. She's looking at getting Holy Cross into the playoffs.
I mean, it's cool. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, it's not. But at the end of the day, I want to get into this Patriot League playoffs, and so that's what I'm trying to focus on this season, and that's what I want to say that happened in my career. But those are great accolades, something that I can look back on and be happy with, but I do want to get into those playoffs.
Reaching the playoffs may be tough for Holy Cross after losing a large group of seniors last season, but Stan has done what she could to continue on with the younger group.
It was hard last year leaving my original group that I was with and watching, I think it was 9 graduate, so that was definitely hard, but the group of girls with now is just unbelievable, and it's just so close, and especially at Holy Cross, I can't speak for other schools, but it's really a team concept and a team family, and just a great group of people.
No one gets that team concept more than Stan, as she has been quick to help the younger players out when they need a lift.
Especially with the freshmen that come in, we had a reasonably large freshman class, and you'll often see Shelby putting the arm around the shoulder when a young player's had a bad game or suffered a disappointment. You know, Shelby's often there, giving them words of advice because she's been through it and seen it all.
It's not just her teammates. Stan has been doing the same thing off the field.
Right now, actually, for school, I'm working with young girls in the Worcester community, and I'm actually teaching them a fitness aspect and doing this whole healthy lifestyle, and that is probably the coolest thing, just getting a hands-on experience and working with people, and I really enjoy that, and helping out the local community.
It is off-the-field activities like that that make it easy to see why she has found success with the Crusaders.
Shelby has been great for us. I mean, she's a leader on the field as well as off the field. She's an inspiration to the younger players in terms of her play, in terms of the way she conducts herself in a professional manner as a student athlete. Her statistics and the impact that she's made on the Patriot League and on college soccer as a whole has been very impressive.
Now with 2 weeks left, she has one thing on her mind.
Well, we have 4 Patriot League games left, and I mean, the thing about our league, which is so cool, is so competitive in that any given week something can change that you didn't expect, or each game you don't know who's going to win. So I'm just looking forward to hopefully getting some big points this week and next week and making an impact in the league, because right now we don't have a win, but that doesn't mean that we're out of it, which is really cool and which is probably the most scary but exciting part of this league.
Playoffs or no playoffs, Stan will walk away knowing that if she could do it all again, she'd still choose Holy Cross. Colgate football has playoffs on the mind too. Moving to 4-2 last week, the Raiders hit an NCAA milestone mark. With a 44-3 win over Cornell, Colgate won its 600th game in program history. They are the 15th program in FCS history to have won 600 games. Colgate Athletics' Jeremiah Hergott spoke with Coach Biddle after the game. Here's what Coach had to say.
Today Hey, Coach, 44-3 against Cornell. First of all, let's talk about the rushing attack led by Nate Eachus, a record-breaking day on an historic day where Colgate accumulated win 600 with a 290-yard rushing effort.
Well, I mean, Nate's had a good year. Nate's a good running back, and I think a lot of, obviously it's Nate, but I think our quarterback helps. I mean, we're pretty multi-dimensional offensively. I thought our offensive line did a good job. And I think the key was we just stuck to what we've been doing. I mean, they were loading the line of scrimmage with a lot of people, and they were playing man. And if you got the ball on the second level, there's nobody in the middle of the field. And, Nate breaks a tackle. And I think Nate's asset is a lot of people know he's pretty fast. I mean, he didn't get very often to get caught from behind. And I just think it was a great effort by our offensive line, our quarterback and receivers blocking downfield, and obviously by Nate.
And one thing that's kind of gone unnoticed since your offense has been so dominant the last couple of weeks is the defense. For 3 straight weeks, Coach, 10 points or less against the opposition. Defense has been doing a fantastic job.
Well, I think they have. I think the coaches did a great job. I mean, and we're playing with some guys, starters that hurt. So people have stepped up and made a lot of plays, a lot of freshmen. And I think the coaches have done a great job. And I think a lot of it goes back to, we hung in there with Syracuse in a lot of plays, just got beat, some skilled athletes. And I think they understood that, they can play with people up front and they understand what they have to do to play team defense. And I think it's very important. Your offense, sometimes you want to have a great offense. Sometimes your offense struggles or whatever. But if you're playing good defense consistently, you got a chance to win. And I think that's what we're doing right now.
You were head coach for win number 500 and head coach for win number 600. Only took 12 years to pick up 100 wins, picking up 500 in 1998 against Dartmouth. Talk about how special this is, what it means to Colgate football picking up win number 600 here today against Cornell.
Well, I was on the 400th as an assistant, so I think I've been on them all. But I think it's just, I think there's a lot of people look at it, alums or whatever. I mean, we look at it. I didn't want to put some emphasis on it, but you got to play the game that's approached you, and I think I don't want to put too much pressure on the kids about 600. They're probably more pumped up about it than you would think, but they've just done a great job, and I think it's great for Colgate, and I think people look at that. 600 wins is a lot of wins, and for a football program, and at any level, and I think Colgate should be proud of that.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Moving on to cross country, there's a little more than a week before the 2010 Patriot League Championship meet takes place at Lafayette College on October 30th. Let's check out part 1 of our cross country championship preview series. We will have part 2 next Thursday, which will preview the women's race. Here's what you need to know about the men's race, which will start at noon.
The defending champion Navy midshipmen entered the 2010 Patriot League Cross Country Championships as the clear favorite, but they will be tested. Navy, which won its 2nd straight Patriot League title last season, was the preseason favorite. Andrew Hanko has been at the forefront of Navy's recent success, entering the championship meet with top 15 finishes in 11 of his last 12 events. He has placed first in 2 races this year, the Salty Dog Invitational and an Army-Navy dual meet. He also has had 1 runner-up finish at the Harry Groves Invitational. His time of 23:55.27 at the Salty Dog Invitational was a season best. American, which was selected to finish 2nd, will provide the biggest challenge for the mids. Here's a closer look at all 8 men's teams that will take the course at noon on October 30th. American finished 2nd at the league meet last season with 57 points, placing 3 runners in the top 10 and 5 in the top 25. Craig Brown, Colin Eustace, and Jeff Brannigan all had top 10 performances, including Brown's 4th place finish with a time of 26:30.9. Brannigan had a personal best in the 8K earlier this season with a 24:14.7 at Navy, while Brown's best time was a 24:44 at the Notre Dame Invitational. Army, picked to finish 3rd this season, placed 5th in 2009 with 107 points. Alexis Torres Santiago led the Black Knights with a time of 26:59.3, finishing 15th. Bryce Livingston, Barrett Lee Hardy, and Mike Mitchell have run strong for the Knights this season, with Livingston picking up the team's top finish in 4 of 5 events. Bucknell, picked to finish 4th, placed 3rd last season with 78 points. The Bison had 3 top 20 finishers, but all were seniors. Then junior Charles Murphy is the top returner after placing 24th with a time of 27:17.7. Keith Sansone and Joshua Clark have been the Bison's leaders during the season, with Clark being Bucknell's top finisher in its last 2 races. Colgate was picked to finish 7th, the same spot it landed in last season with 181 points. Ed Sheridan and Grant Stauffer were the Raiders' top finishers last year, placing back-to-back at 33rd and 34th. Sheridan has led the Raiders much of this season and set a new personal record at the Paul Short Run at Lehigh, placing 3rd with a time of 25:23. Holy Cross was 6th in the preseason poll after placing 6th last season with 160 points. Corey Loftus and Dan Altino led the Crusaders last season, and they've been doing it again this year. Loftus, who finished 22nd last year with a time of 27:11.2, has 2 top 15 finishes this season, and Altino, after his 26th place finish last year, has been the Crusaders' best runner in 2010. His top time of 25:21 came at the New England Championships. Lafayette finished in 8th last season with 251 points, and the Leopards were selected in the preseason to finish there again. Ryan Stasiowski led the Leopards last season with his 49th place finish and should lead the Leopards again this season. He was the Leopards' top finisher in all 4 regular season events. Lehigh finished 4th last season with 98 points, and the Mountain Hawks were selected in the preseason poll to drop a spot to 5th. But with Evans Koske, last season's individual runner-up, Lehigh always has a chance to beat preseason expectations. Koske finished 7 seconds behind the individual champion with a time of 26:24. The Mountain Hawks also returned Andrew Jervis, who placed 27th last season. Navy was 1st last year with 34 points, and the Mids were picked to take the title again in 2010. The aforementioned senior, Andrew Hanko, is the biggest reason why, after his 2009 title, finishing the race in 26:17.9. Then sophomore Cody Rome finished 3rd, and the Rookie of the Year, Dean Black, finished 10th. The Mids' top 7 runners all finished in the top 14.
Well, that's our show. We thank you for joining us here on Sidelines. Remember, we'll be back next week with a preview of the women's race at the Cross Country Championships. You can also find out more information on www.patriotleague.com, or you can learn more by following us on Twitter and Facebook. We'll see you next week.